A very good afternoon and welcome to the midday news on Rajya Sabha television, where we get you the biggest developing news stories at the top of this hour. I'm Ashpada Kapoor and these are the headlines. 45 winners chosen for National Teachers Awards. Prime Minister Modi to felicitate awardees today. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu to confer awards on Teachers' Day on Wednesday. Two accused in the 2007 Hyderabad twin blast convicted, two others acquitted. Special court to pronounce verdict on the fifth accused and quantum on two convicts on Monday. Blasts had claimed over 40 lives. India plans to construct 100 new airports in the next 10 to 15 years, says the Civil Aviation Minister Suresh Prabhu. Global Airlines grouping AITA says Indian aviation sector expected to become the world's third largest air passenger market in next 10 years. Rat fever claims 9 lives in Kerala in a week. 11 confirmed cases of dengue also reported after flood waters recede. 23 people dead in past 36 hours as flood situation remains grim in many parts of Uttar Pradesh. Rains in national capital for the fourth straight day. And Om Prakash Mitharwal wins his maiden gold at the Shooting World Championship in South Korea, claims the top honors in 50 meters pistol event. Heartbreak at the US Open tennis. Five-time champion Roger Federer makes a shock exit after being beaten by unseeded Australian John Millman. Maria Sharapova also bows out. Our top story this afternoon, two Indian Mujahideen operatives have been convicted in the 2007 Hyderabad twin bombing case. The quantum of punishment for both the convicts, Anish Shafiq Saeed and Ismail Chaudhry, will be announced on Monday. The Special National Investigative Agency Court acquitted two more accused in the twin cases at Hyderabad that claimed 42 lives and left 68 others injured. Verdict on the fifth accused will also be pronounced on Monday. Two blasts had occurred at Gokul Chaat Eatery in Koti and at the Laser Show Auditorium at Lumbini Park at around 7:45 p.m. on 25th of August 2007. While 32 people were killed at Gokul Chaat, 10 people lost their lives at Lumbini Park. An unexploded bomb was also later discovered from Dilsukh Nagar that night. And Chief Justice of India Deepak Mishra has recommended the name of Justice Ranjan Gogoi as his successor. CJI Mishra has sent a letter to the central government recommending Gogoi's name. He has written to the Ministry of Law and Justice endorsing and recommending the name of Justice Gogoi, the senior-most judge, as the next CJI. CJI Mishra leaves office on 2nd of October. The Law Ministry had last week written to the CJI requesting him to recommend his successor. Now the Law Ministry will put the recommendation before the Prime Minister, who will advise the President on the appointment. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi will felicitate national award-winning teachers today ahead of the Teachers' Day celebrations tomorrow. 45 selected teachers have shown innovation in their work and added value to the school and to their students. 6,692 applications were received from teachers from all over the country for the awards, out of which 3 teachers were selected from every district. A total of 152 nominations were shortlisted, and the nominated teachers gave a presentation last month before an independent jury to place their contribution and the work done by them. Under the revised guidelines, all the regular teachers were eligible to apply, and the minimum 15 years of service had been done away with. The teachers got the chance to directly apply and nominate themselves for the award. Self-nominations from teachers were invited online. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu will be conferring the awards to them at a function tomorrow, that is on Teachers' Day. And 2 days after the launch of the India Post Payments Bank, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reiterated that the government has focused on financial inclusion from the very beginning of its term. He said that there is a paradigm shift in government policies that is benefiting the poor and the middle class. Replying to people on his Twitter handle, Prime Minister Modi said that people living in remote areas will particularly benefit from the India Post Payments Bank. IPP banks will offer a range of products such as savings and current accounts, money transfer, bill and utility payments and merchant payments. IPPB, remember, was launched with 650 branches and 3,250 access points across the country. All the 1.55 lakh post offices in the country will be linked to the IPPB system by the 31st of December this year. Niti Aayog Vice Chairman Rajiv Kumar has said that demonetization did not slow down the economy. Blaming non-performing assets of banks for the slowdown in the economy, Kumar said that the post-demonetization slowdown in 6 quarters, starting from the last quarter of 2015-16, was just a continuation of a declining trend. He also blamed former RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan's policies for the rise in NPAs. Rajan had devised a new mechanism to identify stressed NPAs. And Kumar further elaborated that when the Modi government came to office, the NPAs stood at about 4 lakh crore rupees. But by the middle of 2017, it had risen to 10.5 lakh crore rupees, and that this was largely due to the policies adopted under the Raghuram Rajan regime. Kumar said that there was no conclusive proof of a link between the economic slowdown and demonetization. India's economy grew at 8.2% rate in April to June this year, reclaiming its position as the fastest growing major global economy this year.
When this government came into office, that figure was about 4 lakh crores. It rose to 10.5 lakh crore by the middle of 2017. And because under the previous governor, Mr. Rajan, they had instituted new mechanisms to identify stressed and non-performing assets, and these continue to grow up, which is why the banking sector stopped giving credit to the industry. In fact, in some cases like the medium and small scale industry, their credit actually shrank. It was a negative growth. Never had been seen such a continuous and persistent year upon year deleveraging of credit. Now, this is the cause for the slowdown of growth.
We are working for integration.
And Niti Aayog Chief Executive Officer Amitabh Kant has said that India will shortly unveil a one nation, one card policy for public transport that will entail connectivity between various modes of transport, addressing a function on a Future Mobility Summit 2018 in the national capital. He said that a robust transportation sector is the backbone for the development of any economy. He said that the road transportation segment alone contributes to around 4% of the country's GDP.
We are working for integration of technology across sectors, across metros, across buses, across many things, so that there is ease and convenience to individuals to push for transportation. अभी इस पे काम हो रहा है, आप अगले 3-4 दिनों में इसके बारे में सुनिएगा।
तो वन नेशन वन कार्ड सब में काम करेगा?
नहीं, इंटेंशन ये है कि जिस सेक्टर्स में हम लोग लिंक कर सकें, लिंक करें उसको।
And Civil Aviation Minister Suresh Prabhu has said that India plans to construct 100 airports at the cost of about 4.2 lakh crore rupees in the next 10 to 15 years. He said that the country's aviation sector is one of the fastest growing in the whole world and has recorded 50 months of double-digit traffic growth. Prabhu added that these airports are to be constructed through public-private partnership. He said that the government is also working on a cargo policy. According to global airlines grouping IATA, India is expected to overtake Germany, Japan, Spain and the UK within the next 10 years to become the world's third largest air passenger market. Also, a report by a Sydney-based aviation research body has said that the Indira Gandhi International Airport in Delhi could overtake London's Heathrow Airport in traffic volume by 2022 financial year. And the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has issued an advisory to all private satellite television channels to use the constitution term of scheduled castes to refer to the community. The ministry has asked the channels to comply with the Bombay High Court directive. The advisory urges channels to refrain from using any other word while referring to the people belonging to scheduled castes. The court directive in June had come over a petition before the Nagpur bench of the High Court. And the advisory issued in August has also cited Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment Circular of 15th of March advising the central and the state governments to use the term scheduled castes. A first-time concerted crackdown has been launched against overground Maoist supporters in various states of the country. As part of this crackdown, about 500 such people have been apprehended by the security forces in Chhattisgarh alone over the last 1 year. According to the CRPF, the fresh action is being undertaken in coordination with the state police forces with an aim to deny space to the left-wing extremists and to counter them beyond the field operations. The Central Reserve Police Force has deployed close to 1 lakh armed personnel and a heavy assortment of weapons and gadgets to tackle the left-wing extremism in various states of the country. A senior official heading the Special Combat Unit in Chhattisgarh has informed that all those people who have been found to have helped the Naxalite cadres in planning, aiding and executing an attack on security forces are the ones who are on their radar primarily, and that such persons are being traced and apprehended or arrested as a part of this new strategy. And the new Law Commission has said that 4,500 crore rupees is the estimated cost to buy new EVMs and paper trail machines if elections to the Lok Sabha and state assemblies are to be conducted simultaneously. In its draft report on simultaneous polls issued last week, the Commission quoted the Election Commission that several polling stations will be set up for the 2019 general elections, and this is a shortfall of about 12.9 lakh ballot units, 9.4 lakh control units and about 12.3 lakh VVPATs if simultaneous elections are to be held. An electronic voting machine, which includes a control unit, a ballot unit and a VVPAT, costs about 33,000 rupees. The Reserve Bank of India has asked all the scheduled commercial banks with more than 10 branches to appoint an internal ombudsman. The scheme was introduced by the RBI in 2015 to strengthen the internal grievance of the banks and to ensure that the complaints of the customers are addressed. To further enhance the independence of the IO mechanism, the RBI in its latest order said that the IO shall examine customer complaints that were partially or wholly rejected by the respective banks. The central bank further said that as the banks shall internally escalate all complaints which are not fully redressed to their respective IOs before conveying their final decision to the complainant. The RBI, however, has excluded regional rural banks from appointing internal ombudsmen. Time now for a very short break. We'll be back with more news.
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. Tradition and cultural fervour dating back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Ghatam, one of the oldest and most unique percussion instruments of southern India. You can play it not only with your fingers, but palms, wrists and heels as well. You'll be surprised, but the air inside the ghatam reverberates, creating the musical notes. 5 elements of nature, earth, water, air, fire and space, make up the composition of this beautiful musical piece which has found an apt place in most of the ancient books.
Welcome back after the break. President Ramnath Kovind, on the second leg of his three-nation visit, will reach Bulgaria from Cyprus today. Now, this will be the first presidential visit to the European country since APJ Abdul Kalam visited Bulgaria in the year 2003. During the visit, President Ramnath Kovind will hold talks with his Bulgarian counterpart on a host of issues, and Bulgarian Prime Minister will also call on President Kovind. President Kovind will also address the business representatives of India and Bulgaria at a business forum today. And earlier on Monday, while in Cyprus, President Kovind addressed the House of Representatives there. And underlining Cyprus's contribution to India's economic growth, President Ramnath Kovind invited the businesses in the Mediterranean nation to invest in our country in the areas of smart cities, infrastructure and tourism. The president noted that Cyprus is the 8th largest investor in India and bilateral trade stands at around $8.2 billion, adding that India was at an exciting juncture and offers business opportunities. He also thanked Cyprus for extending support to India's bid for permanent membership of the United Nations Security Council and the membership of the Nuclear Suppliers Group.
We look to Cyprus for partnership. You can come as investors and you can come as stakeholders. You can come to buy or to sell. You can come with your expertise and you can come with your brands and your skills. India is open for business and India is open for Cyprus. Do come and come quickly.
News from Kerala now, where 9 people have died since the last 1 week in the state due to different types of fevers, including leptospirosis or rat fever. The state is battling the outbreak of various diseases after floodwaters receded in various parts. On Monday alone, 2 people died of rat fever in Palakkad and Kozhikode districts. According to the state officials, a total of 71 people have tested positive for rat fever in various state hospitals. 123 people have also shown symptoms of the disease. Over 13,800 people have taken treatment across the state for various kinds of fever. 11 confirmed and 21 suspected cases of dengue have also been reported in the state. The state health minister held a review meeting on the fever situation and said the government was ready with a plan to check its spread. Those who have been diagnosed with the fever are largely volunteers who went for the rescue work.
Number of cases of fever have been increasing for the last few days, and all of them having the history of rescue work during the flood, and all of them are having the features of the leptospirosis. Fever, myalgia syndrome, that is the most common symptom for which the patient seeks medical advice in our hospitals. We are expecting more and more cases because the incubation period of leptospirosis is 2 to 20 days. So the next coming week we will be having more and more cases of fever.
Cases, about 300 cases, both suspected as well as confirmed after 24th of this month. When we analyze the data, it shows that most of them was reluctant to take the prophylactic medicines. So they contracted the disease.
And cleaning work continues in several parts of the state, while the water is yet to recede in some parts of Alappuzha, which is one of the worst hit. The number of people in relief camps have come down to about 9,550, out of which majority of the people are from Alappuzha district. Meanwhile, the State Bank of India and the LIC Housing Finance have announced a special term loan for repairing and renovation of homes to help people in the flood-affected state. Now, under this scheme, the bank offers a loan of up to 10 lakh rupees at a reduced interest rate of 8.45% per annum, along with a waiver of processing fee. And the LIC Housing Finance will offer loans of up to 15 lakh rupees at a concessional rate of 8.5%. Meanwhile, in the state of Uttarakhand, 13 people have been killed and 2 others were injured after their vehicle fell into the Bhagirathi River following landslides triggered by continuous rain. Around 180 tourists at the Kempty Falls near Missouri were rescued after floods following heavy rains. The popular spot has been temporarily closed. And the flood situation in many parts of Uttar Pradesh remains grim, with heavy rains claiming 23 lives in the past 36 hours. Bundelkhand and the western parts of the state is now facing the flood fury. And heavy rains also lashed eastern districts of Rajasthan in the last 24 hours. The weatherman has forecast heavy rains during the next 24 hours as well at isolated places in the eastern parts of the state. And rains also lashed several parts of Delhi for the 4th consecutive day today, leading to waterlogging and traffic jams at several places. And the Home Ministry in its data has said that over 1,400 people have lost their lives due to rains, floods and landslides in the country so far this monsoon season. The figures were released for 10 states, including Kerala, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Assam, Uttarakhand, Odisha and Nagaland. Let's get you all the international news now. Typhoon Jebi has hit Japan's western coast, bringing some of the most powerful winds and rainfall seen in 25 years. Hundreds of domestic flights were cancelled, along with the international flights from Kansai Airport in Osaka. And Japan's meteorological agency said that the water was also rising near the coastal city of Kobe. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has urged people to evacuate early and ordered his government to take all necessary measures to protect residents. News from Pakistan, where the lawmakers are set to choose a new president today, an election in which the ruling Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf or the PTI party's candidate Arif Alvi is expected to win. Apart from Alvi, the Pakistan People's Party's Chaudhry Aeaz Hassan and Jamaat-e-Ulema chief Maulana Fazl-ur-Rahman are also in the race. The joint opposition failed to field a candidate. The President of Pakistan is elected in a secret ballot by the provincial and national assemblies. There are a total of 706 assembly members who will elect the President, and polling stations have been set up in all 4 provincial assemblies in addition to the National Assembly. Outgoing President Mahmood Hussein's tenure ends on 8th of September. He had declined for a re-election to the second-year term. And the founder of the Haqqani network, Jalaluddin Haqqani, is dead. The Haqqani network is one of Afghanistan's most feared militant groups. The Afghan Taliban announced that the death was due to long illness. The Haqqani network has been blamed for attacks across Afghanistan since the US invasion. Designated a terrorist group by the United States, the Haqqanis are known for their heavy use of suicide bombers. The network has also been accused of assassinating top Afghan officials and holding kidnapped Westerners for ransom. And the United Nations has called for the urgent release of 2 Reuters journalists who were jailed by Myanmar for breaching Myanmar's Official Secrets Act. UN Human Rights Chief has expressed a shock over the 7-year jail term, calling the trial a travesty of justice. 2 Reuters journalists, namely Wallon and Kyo So-woo, are in prison since December. They were found guilty of breaching Myanmar's state secret law during their reporting of the Rohingya crisis. The case has sparked an outcry among the international community as an attempt to muzzle reporting on last year's crackdown by Myanmar security forces on the Muslim Rohingya minority in the Rakhine state. The Editors Guild of India has also condemned the jailing of the 2 journalists, calling it a big blow to democracy, and has demanded their immediate release. Let's get you all the sporting action now. The shooting world championships where Om Prakash Mitharwal has won India's third gold in South Korea. Mitharwal shot a score of 564 in the 50 meters pistol event today. He is the first Indian to win gold in this event at the World Championships. He also equaled the Commonwealth Games record in the qualification for the 10 meters air pistol event set by Samresh Jung of India with 584 points. India had earlier won gold in the junior 50 meters men's pistol individual and team events on the opening day of the tournament. India's only previous medal in this group at the World Championships came by Jeetu Rai, who had won silver in the last edition in 2014. And in cricket, India's star batsman and captain Virat Kohli continues to remain at the top of the ICC rankings. Virat Kohli achieved a career high 937 rating points after an innings of 46 and 58 in the fourth test against England. Virat Kohli has scored a total of 544 runs across 8 innings in the ongoing series, and he is 11th in the list of best ever batsmen in the terms of rating points. And for Indian bowlers, Cheteshwar Pujara remains unmoved at the 6th position. At the 19th position, Mohammad Shami also moved up the rankings along with Ishant Sharma at the 25th spot. Now news from the US Open, where Roger Federer made a shock exit in the round of 16. 5 times champion Roger Federer was beaten by unseeded Australian John Millman. Millman, who is the first Australian quarter-finalist at the US Open since Lleyton Hewitt in 2006, will now face 6th seed Novak Djokovic. Millman is ranked 53 places below number 2 Roger Federer. And 2006 champion Russia's Maria Sharapova earlier was beaten 6-3, 6-4 by Spain's Carla Suarez Navarro. The fourth round once again proved the end of the road for Maria Sharapova, who has not reached the quarterfinals at the US Open since 2012. Meanwhile, Serena Williams cruised through the quarterfinal at the Flushing Meadows, beating Estonian Kaia Kanepi in straight sets. And in the other men's singles matches, Marin Cilic, Novak Djokovic and Juan Martin Del Potro advanced to the next round of the US Open. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Midday News. Thanks for watching.